And so one of the things you mentioned, this is huge, right? Because life is all about relationships at the end of the day. And you talk and managing relationships of all types. And you've done a good job of that. You're a good husband, father, brother. But look, zeroing in on the business world, how in the world do you manage relationships, right? And like level 1 relationships and then billion-dollar relationships. Give us a quick tutorial.
Yeah. So billion-dollar relationships are usually paying a lot of money. So I always tell people, you have to change yourself to deal with other people. You know, maybe the last time in your life that you can just be yourself and do your own thing and have everybody cater to you is right after you stop taking a bottle and start feeding yourself.
Right.
People will do anything they want to for a baby, but as you grow older,
that's a whole word.
It's a whole other thing. You have to start changing yourself to deal with who's on the other side. So trust me, when I worked in corporate America, I didn't have all this beautiful stuff here, right? Because in corporate America, people aren't good with this. They want to see your hair cropped. They want to see your face shaved. They want to see a suit and tie. That's what I wore in my 9 to 5 to manage that relationship, to make people feel comfortable. When you as a Black person get stopped by the police, you have to manage that relationship. Hands on the steering wheel, driver's license in one hand, registration in the other, window down. Yes, officer. What do you need me to do? Right? So you're managing relationships all the time. And when you're in business, you have lots of resources, your friends, your colleagues, your LinkedIn, your contact relationship management, to understand what it is that other person needs that you've got. And even when you're having a relationship with a friend, a lover, a buddy, a teammate, you have to kind of think, what is it that they need so I can get what I want? So if you position yourself as, okay, what does this person need? And what do I need to give it to them? That's kind of the basics. And then you have to say to yourself, is it worth it? Right?
Is
it worth it? I got a job offer one time for $1 million a year in Boston.
Yeah.
And money was really important to me at the time that this offer came in. But my wife was like, you can go to Boston. But by the time we sell this house, buy another house, get rid of our nanny here, find a nanny there, get the kids out of public school, go to private school in Boston, come back to Chicago for family reunions, weddings, parties, graduations, and all that, we will have burnt through that $1 million. And after tax, it doesn't make sense. I went, you're absolutely right. It wasn't worth it. So you have to think about, what is a relationship worth to you? What is a job worth to you? What is
so good
worth to you? And sometimes, particularly with people, you have to let go of the ones who are bringing you down.
And that.
Tighten up to the ones who are good. I'll give you
especially for young people. Like when I think about just the college students, the high school students I've worked with, there are so many like just prime time players, all stars, but then they have that friend that just pulls them down and they're not staying engaged. They're not doing the work, not because they can't do it or don't want to do it, but just that influence, bad influence.
Yeah. So I'm going to give you the Tony Wilkins mobile phone test of whether you should stay involved with somebody or not, because you're either building a relationship or you're letting it erode or you're cutting it off. So the mobile phone test goes like this. If your phone blows up with a text or a call and you see somebody who you go, wow, that's Nina, that's somebody you want to maintain that relationship. If you look and you say, oh, this dude again, that should tell you, ghost him.
Right.
You know, even if it's your boy from the neighborhood. One of the things that happens with folks who come from the neighborhoods that I came from, you know, if you're from Crenshaw or Watts or Oakland or, you know,
East New York,
or the south west side of Chicago, the fact of the matter is, most of your colleagues are not going to make it.
Man,
they're not going to make it. You're going to be saying goodbye to people after grammar school, after high school, you're going to be going to their funerals. You're going to be go visit them in jail. It's just the way it is. So you have to be even more conscious, more focused, even maybe more ruthless about letting those people who are going to drag you down go, and finding the people who are mentors, relatives, friends, teachers, white folks, Hispanic folks, Asian folks, people that don't look like you.
That's a word.
Say, wow, I see something in you. You and I are cool, and build that relationship. And if you listen to the voice inside of you, the little voice that says, oh, this person's cool, this person's not, and keep making the right choices, eventually you'll be good.
Man, nuggets. He is dropping gems. Thank you, Mr. Wilkins. Do you still have a few minutes? I know we're coming up on. Okay, great, perfect. So, wow, there's so many things here. Okay, you briefly mentioned just, Black men, and if how to manage the relationship when you get pulled over. And I just, again, you see my picture. I have 3 older brothers. While I love Black women, and absolutely we're here to give you advice as well, what's your advice to just the young Black men listening?
So I'll give you the advice that my dad gave me, which is really good. So this is coming down from the generations, okay?
Yeah, we need that.
We all have problems. We all have problems. And when you start to think you have more problems than anybody else, as a young Black man with no role models, living in the city with all your friends who are trying to take you the wrong place, shut up.
Whew.
Shut up. We all have problems, and it could be worse. When my dad told me we all have problems, I was in college. I looked around, I saw a Chinese dude who was knocking it out of the park. I was barely passing. I looked at him and I was like, wow, dude probably has a whole village that paid to get him over here to go to college. And he's under a lot of pressure not to fail. There's a white dude whose father was president of Commonwealth Edison. I was like, ooh, dude seems to have everything going for him, but if he fails, his father's going to trip. I saw a sign on somebody's dorm room one time when I was in the middle of one of my pity parties. And it said, if we were all invited to bring our problems to a common pile and had the choice of taking back the problems we brought or our fair share, who wouldn't take back the problems you have? So we all have problems, and you're gonna have problems. And when you don't have money problems, you're gonna have relationship problems. You're always gonna have problems. You're gonna have health problems. It's not, again, this sounds corny, but it's not how many times you get knocked down. It's how many times you get back up, and who is in your squad to help you out. I tell people, your life personally is not like a family where you got Uncle Boo Boo who we just have to put up with because he's crazy. You get to choose the people in your circle. And you should constantly be upgrading the people who you dig and letting go with love those who don't fit anymore.
Wow. Think about that, y'all. True on that. Oh man, that's good. And so even though this is, a finance and investing, podcast and YouTube channel, I think it's so important to understand that wealth is so much more than money. So at Student Dream, the way we define wealth is that, you keep more than you spend with joy, integrity, and generosity. And we look at wealth not just as financial. Yes, that's the focus, but health is wealth, family is wealth, and relationships are wealth. And I think you so well exemplify, every part of that, Mr. Wilkins, specifically on the family side and the health side. Can you talk to me about that? Because as a single Black woman who wants to be married to a strong Black man, I'm out here waiting, and for other, I just want to see just more wealth when it comes to the families in our community and the health of our community. We see that as a big issue right now. So can you speak to that a bit?
Sure. So I'm going to tell you something that's going to be really difficult to kind of digest. I want you to keep it real, right?
Yeah.
When you are following your own course, your own very personal, authentic course, the universe will deliver everything you need in abundance beyond what you could expect. Let me say that again. When you are following your own personal course, then everything that you need will show up in abundance beyond what you could imagine. It's hard to accept, but after it's happened a few times, you'd be like, yeah, I guess that's the way it works. I call it the Bernoulli Theory. Like you see a truck go down the street and all the paper and grass and dirt flies behind it. That's what life is like. When you're that truck doing what you want to do, everything else will show up, even with relationships, right? I was not looking for my wife when I met her. She showed up because I knew exactly what I was doing, where I was going. I'm not looking for certain jobs, and it showed up. I think about how much money I wanted to make. I wanted to be an investment banker. And I went to business school part-time, and after 3 years, nobody would hire me as an investment banker. And I wound up in asset management, which was really the narrow slice of the financial industry that fit me perfectly for what I was trying to do. Fit me perfectly.
Yeah.
But I had never heard of it until everybody rejected me from Chicago to San Francisco for investment investment banking. So I can't emphasize enough how much people staying on their own. I say my number one mantra, if I was going to tattoo anything on my body, it would be this: choose what you want and pay for it. Choose what you want and pay for it. There was a young lady I met several years ago who was complaining about the fact that she couldn't find a man. I was like, okay, so I'm a problem solver. I know some brothers. What's up?
Yeah.
Well, he's got to be dark skinned. He has to have a full beard. He has to be
We need that beard. We need that beard.
No, I know. He has to be, he has to be a Christian. He can't be divorced. He has to make more money than I do. He has to. And she just named all this list of stuff. I'm like,
yeah.
Okay, if that's what you really, truly want. But my guess is there were some things that she thought she needed to have to maintain her social status.
Interesting.
As opposed to saying, you know what, I'm just going to be out here. I'm going to look for a good dude who's interested in me and can help me be what I want to be. I don't know if she's gotten anybody yet, but sometimes it's just you have to skinny down all the things you think you need to what it is you really, really are looking for. So like I said, there are only two things that drove me when I was a kid. I didn't want anybody having to drag their kids over to visit me on the weekends, and I didn't want to live in my father's basement. Now that seems weird, but
that's
my
you.
wife,
that's your story.
That's right. My wife brought me a beautiful family, and she hasn't made me go sleep in my father's basement yet. So I think we're still good.
I love it. And talk to me about the health side too.
Right. So you cannot look. Your body is a vessel that allows you to do everything else. I heard this fabulous quote the other day. It said, the sick man only wants one thing: to be healthy. The healthy man wants thousands of things.
Come on.
Right. So if you're healthy, then it allows you to do things that the unhealthy person can't do or is afraid to do. If you're healthy, you can go down in the subway and ride in the subway all day long. If you're healthy, you can go on a vacation with somebody. If you're healthy, you can go for a long walk with somebody who wants to walk. You can play with your grandchildren. But if you're healthy, boy, all of a sudden if you're not healthy, all of a sudden your independence starts to go down.
Yeah.
People have to take care of you. And for me, I've always been about, hey, I want to do what I want to be able to do. So health, and it doesn't take that much to do. You just have to get in the habit of it.
Yeah.
Everybody wants to drink from time to time, but don't drink all the time.
Right. Not all the time. Come on.
And there's plenty of information about how to be healthy. You don't have to be a zealot and turn into an alkaline-free vegan. That's what you want to do. That's fine. But there's lots in between that, again, you can choose what level works for you and what doesn't.
That's great. Thank you. And then, when it comes to investing, because you've had so much experience in the asset management world and in the venture capital world, talk to us about just how to kind of get started in those worlds, get our feet wet.
Yep. So the first thing you need to do is be as debt free as you can.
Mm.
You know, when you're getting started, yes, you'll have a little balance on your credit card, but always try to first save some money. So you want to just have some savings, right? And savings is just basic. Put in a savings account. Then learn about what your 401k offers if you're working at a job, or figure out what an IRA is. So that would be everybody's homework assignment.
Yes.
Find out what your 401k or what an IRA is, because what that does is Uncle Sam keeps you from paying taxes on all of the earnings that you make over those years. And you know, if you put $20 away for 40 years, it's probably going to wind up being $120 by the time you need it when you retire and you don't want to work anymore. So it's all about the habit of putting money away and then learning about financial instruments. And then once you've gotten into that habit, then you will be more comfortable taking a risk on maybe some large cap stocks, international stocks, small cap stocks. When somebody comes to you with an idea and they need $5,000 or they need $1,000 or they need $150, then you can decide, okay, what's the return on my investment? How long is it going to take for me to get it back? And give them some constraints about, you know, what it's going to take. But I tell people all the time, you cannot learn how to swim without getting wet, and you cannot learn about investing without investing some money.
That's good.
These days, you can put as little as $200 into a mutual fund. You can buy 3 shares of stocks if you want to. And the difference between talking about stocks and doing stocks is the same as the difference about riding in a car versus sitting in the driver's seat trying to find your way around.